this thing back a little bit. I gotta recheck the camera angle. Here it goes. And I did cheat and plug it in overnight, so. So on the left here, you see the carnage from my little mess up. These right here are what's left of the pins that are supposed to locate the nozzle in the injector. And then, yeah, so what ended up happening is you got the two halves of your injector. You got the nozzle half, the fuel half of the injector. I forgot that was in there. And then you got the upper half, the oil half of the injector. And they thread together. And basically what I had is apparently I was tired enough where I got it to about the point where you started needing to use a wrench on it to tighten it together. And then I reassemble the rest of the injector and forgot to actually tighten this part up. So it's one of those things. Is my mistake, one of those stupid mistakes you make. But so when I had installed the injectors, that one injector looked like it wasn't seated in the bore all the way. So I ended up pulling it up, pulling it back out of the bore, checking everything was fine, so I shoved it back in. That was my second mistake, because they have a little copper crush washer on the nozzle down here, which is intended to seal out your cylinder pressures from the injector bore. And so I ended up getting cylinder pressures pushing the fuel out of the fuel rail on this head, which was pushing a whole bunch of air back to the tank because it was overpowering the fuel pressure regulator. So my fuel system wasn't priming. So I had a whole cluster of problems caused just by this. So once I figured out that it at least was partially because of my crush washer mishap, I ended up pulling the injector out, and when I pulled it out, I realized it was only threaded, about that far in. And yeah, so then I, not thinking, started tightening it down, and luckily I have this parts injector because I blew out the tip of my injector nozzle, and had to make 2 new pins for it. But those things, live and learn. Yeah, so it's one of those lessons you learn in life, to double check everything and actually make sure you're paying attention. I should have double checked, made sure I was tight down, but I didn't. So now I gotta mess with a few other things, get things completely straightened out. But yeah, I'm just glad I didn't have anything else wrecked. I got the truck warming up outside. I'm gonna spin it around and pull the nose in, and kind of look at a few things that are. I just looked at it. It looks like actually the tensioner is rubbing against the bolt. Tensioner wheel is. So I gotta look at that. And then I've been having, now that I got the truck running, after I got the truck running now, I've had a long crank to start no matter hot or cold. And I'll show you what I did here, but I ended up unplugging a sensor and the truck started quicker. So I got looking at that, try to figure out what's going on there. But yeah, and sorry for the delay in this video coming out. I've been real busy with work stuff right now. I do lawn care over the summer, and the snow's melting really quick right now, so it's kind of put pressure on to get equipment and stuff ready, maintenance stuff that's been waiting. So I spent this week, the first couple days this week, just doing ball joints and tie rods on my work truck. And then I gotta work on another work truck coming up this next week here, so then just family stuff going on. So sorry for the delay, but it is what it is. Then I was also, first couple days after that last video, I was fighting with trying to figure out what was going on with the truck. So yeah, but I'm gonna let it warm up a little bit, and I'll spin it around in here, and I'll see what we got going on. Alright, so what I ended up doing to get the truck to start a little quicker there was I actually unplugged, this is the ICP sensor, which mine appears to be good, so I don't know if that's what the issue is or not, but this sensor here, when you unplug it, it lets the computer in the truck will default the pressure that it's seeing for the oil, and it'll throw a check engine light, but it'll let the truck start. So like if your truck is a crank no start and everything seems to be fine, if you pull this plug out and it's wet with oil in it, just leave it unplugged and then try starting your truck. Then down there where that black plug is, that's next possible culprit. It's the IPR valve, which apparently those can come loose. There's a little nut on them where they can come loose and they can start bleeding off pressure. That's the next culprit. Otherwise, you got oil line here to the head and an oil line here to the head to supply oil pressure for each head for the injectors. So yeah, my the exhaust back pressure valve on this truck was taken out before I got the truck, but it wasn't done quite right. I don't know if you can see it back in there. The nice little shiny, there's a little bit right below the exhaust housing there. You can see kind of a shiny line. That's the piston for the exhaust pack pressure valve, which was left in the pedestal. So the guy that had taken out the exhaust back pressure valve didn't pull the turbo, and so he just left the piston in there, so it still leaks oil. So I'm gonna have to one of these days pull the turbo out, and it looks like there might be some seals in the turbo leaking anyway, so I'll pull the turbo out and rebuild it. But that's a project for another day. I'm trying to figure out where my oil pressure is going, because it has to crank for a little bit before the truck will start. So I guess we'll dig further and see what I find. Oh, and the pulley noises here, and as you look, get an angle, yeah, the tensioner pulley there is rubbing on its mounting screw or mounting bolt. I know this grooved pulley is going bad, so I ordered one of those, but I didn't realize this. I'll have to take the belt off and mess with that and see what I can figure out. But I know these apparently have a tendency to get kicked off at a funny angle because they aren't the best design, I guess. So yeah, I'm gonna see what I find. Alright, so can't see anything obvious yet, but pulled the inspection port, I guess you'd call it, from the high pressure oil pump, and I cranked it. Well, I let with the plug in, I cranked the truck with a starter solenoid inside of the fender well for 10-15 seconds, and then I pulled this plug, and it looks like there's a little bit of air coming out, but it's staying full, which means that the low pressure oil pump is maintaining the oil volume in the reservoir for the high pressure oil pump. So it's probably either this sensor maybe is giving a bad reading, which is possible, or the IPR valve in the bottom. So I might see if one of the local parts stores got a ICP sensor in stock, because that'll be a pretty quick, easy change, and if that fixes it, that fixes it. Otherwise, I'll have to see about getting an IPR valve for it. We'll see. So we're gonna go for get the car seat swapped back over, and we're gonna go for a quick rip here. I'm gonna have to order some pulleys, and then kind of do a little bit of looking about that ICP sensor and the IPR valve. But truck runs good on that long crank thing, and which you'll see here, and then I'm gonna fire up and back it up here, and we'll go from there. I just want to thank you guys for watching the video. Was going to do a comparison of kind of like boost and stuff like that before and after the little bit bigger injectors, but I think I'll make that in the next video. But thanks again for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and just I guess keep an eye out for more videos coming up here.